was younger, once you went home, you were home. And the only way anyone can contact you is if there was a telephone. And they could call you, but there wasn't text messaging, there wasn't Facebook, there wasn't Twitter, and a whole multitude of other ways people can get to you or spread information.
30 years ago, that it looked different maybe, and we didn't necessarily think of it as bullying. I think it was we saw it as more fun and not harmful, but that might not have been how it was interpreted.
Number one, kids don't need to be bullied by anybody.
Do you think there are differences between being bullied as a middle schooler and as a college student?
It's different type of bullying that's involved, whether it might be from people picking on Hispanic people, or people picking on gay people, or even adults picking on kids.
Well, in middle school, at least I remember that you're trying to figure out who you are, you're trying to figure out where you belong, and you have a lot less power because you always have someone above you, whether it be teachers or parents or grandparents or friends, and you're always looking to figure out where you fit in. As a college student, it's different because now you're trying to figure out who you are as an adult.
You never know who's going to be a bully nowadays. It could be your best friend.
It was safe to say that I didn't do what I needed to do if I went. Over the years, yes, I have seen things escalate to the point of physical violence, where it's been a fight. Whether that was bullying or it was conflict, it's hard to tell.
Bullies bully because of their insecurities.
Number one, I think they need to be educated after they're caught bullying and stuff. Most of the time, the kids that I get in here that have picked on somebody or bullied somebody will talk about what's going on and how they could handle it differently.
Are some punishments that the kids get when it gets too far that they don't like to stop it?
Punishments that could get handed out. We have, if we need, first thing we'll have a parent meeting if we need to. There could be in-school suspension. There could be out-of-school suspension. And then, if it gets really bad, then we contact law enforcement. And then we'll let law enforcement deal with it.
As far as punishments go, I would rather that the person who did it would get help, or the group would get education. I know that's not always possible, but I also know that some kid who is feeling down on his luck and feeling like he has nothing in the world and is trying to gain control by bullying someone else, a punishment is not going to change that.
You deal with bullying if you're in the school system?
Well, the first thing that you have to do in a school system is you have to decide if it's bullying or not, because there's a difference between bullying and conflict. If it's conflict, it's two ways. It's both people doing having their part in the issue. Bullying is more of a one-sided issue where one person is very dominant and the other person is on the receiving end of it, and it makes them feel uncomfortable, it makes them feel unsafe.
The worst one I've heard about is the one over in South O'Brien School District, where the boy had told that he was gay, and people picked on him so much that he took his own life.
Things that I saw happened mostly when our high school and middle school and two towns over from us merged into. When I was in high school, I was in a PE class when this student who was bullied all the time, I could not imagine how hard that must have been for him to be so picked on. and he was a freshman, and the senior guys would pick on him in PE class and afterwards when they were dressing, and I can't imagine what happened in that locker room, but we were standing out in the entryway waiting for the bell to ring, and he pulled a butcher knife. And it wasn't like he was gonna stab the kid, he just like pulled it like for self-defense, and he was crying, and the thing that was even more sad was the kid that was probably the most influential in picking on him punched him out and grabbed the knife, so he was considered a hero. You know, he's the one who probably caused most of it. You could put some of someone's most embarrassing moments on, and it's there forever. Especially in middle school when things are so happen and they're huge, but then they die down. If it's out there forever, people can't escape that, and it's something that follows them.
They're having problems at the high school with cyberbullying and fights because of the cyberbullying. It's happening all the time. There's been many fights involved with people getting bullied on the cyberbullying type thing, and then taking it on their own to go over and assault another person. Or I think bullying happens because they don't feel good about themselves.
People bring in Facebook posts or Twitters that, you know, were offensive to some people. We do take, it's just a text, it's a post, it's just one thing, and they're anonymous and it's not going to affect them. That it may affect one person in a way, or a group of people in a way that they may never quite recover from.
I don't think there's any, black and white rules that prevent bullying. I think we have to educate students on what bullying is. I think we have to educate students on how to handle it if they are bullied.
In schools, just making sure that, there are people there for students to go to, and not just talking about ways to combat it as a whole school, but talking individually, especially with the kids. You can pick them out. The kids that may not have a lot of friends or may be victims because of something that makes them different, and making sure that they have the skills they need to feel safe. Only when you can put yourself in someone else's shoes can you really see how your actions will affect them. I really look at social justice as society really making sure that everyone is heard and seen equally, that everyone has the same chances and everyone is looked at equally. But bullying takes that away. Bullying puts a group up here and a group down here, and it keeps that group pushed down. And as long as that happens, you're never going to have an equal environment. What we need to do as a society is to figure out a way that we make every member count.